Hey, okay. First, I'm gonna pause before doing an intro to make sure my sound is going through. Everyone that watches my streams tend to know that there's like a 10% chance that I start an entire stream and go for like 3 minutes without realizing I'm muted. So let me make sure I'm seeing green dots on my voice. Hopefully someone can give me an indication that they can hear me. But hi everyone, welcome to Live Coding Elevenses. Happy New Year! It's my first stream for this year, so we're back, baby. It is 2026. We are into the new year. We are already getting pretty busy with certain things, which is why the topic of today is hackathon. But we'll get to that in a little bit. If this is our first time joining one of the live coding streams, welcome. Thank you for joining me on Live Coding Elevenses. We also have 2 other shows that happen regularly, which will start back soon. We're pretty slow on the get-go for January because of vacation, the snow hitting everybody on the East Coast. But there's 2 other shows. Live Coding Second Breakfast is with Christy on Tuesdays, and Live Coding Afternoon Tea is with Travis on Thursdays, and I'm on the Wednesday. So hey, welcome. What we do on these shows is we pick a different ServiceNow topic. Christy has a certain focus, Travis has a certain focus, and we just do live coding. We actually build stuff. We try to do the entire process with no bells and whistles or preparation beforehand, because we have found in the past that a lot of people value seeing dev work portrayed accurately from beginning to end, including all the troubleshooting and all the things that are breaking and not necessarily working. And so we want to do that. Plus, it's just fun to hang out with people, chat and answer questions live. It's a little bit less serious of a format than our other shows that we do with a lot of preparation and stuff like that. So we try to balance having deep dive technical content, high level overview content, pre-recorded content, live stream content, prepared content, spontaneous content, and entertainment content on this channel. Like, we try to do the whole thing, all within the hope of giving ServiceNow developers out there good content or build community. But yeah, that's the show. Okay, so good morning. Hey, welcome back onto this into chat, Fodor. And hey, Arun, I see you in there too. Fodor, regular viewer, one of the few on Twitch. So hey, man. So the topic for today is hackathon. So if you didn't really know, my team is technically under the marketing team. So the developer advocacy group is under community, which is under product solution marketing, which is under marketing. Stuff you don't need to know about. But one of the cool things about us being attached to the marketing group is that we have a strong presence at our annual conference, Knowledge. If you've ever been to Knowledge in Vegas, you'll know that CreatorCon is a huge space just for celebrating our practitioner community, not just the developers, but anybody that uses ServiceNow and does their primary work in ServiceNow or around ServiceNow. All the people that are creating, like, it's a celebration of creators at Knowledge. This year we are getting well, I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about. Every year we try to make CreatorCon bigger, and this year is not different in any way in that sense of form. And so Hackathon is happening again, and we have been throwing around different ideas of how it can change, how it can evolve. We have taken some of the ideas that are brand new and we're shifting it to a concurrent space. So we're going to have multiple cool building events at Knowledge this year. Again, have no idea what I'm allowed to talk about, or even if I'm allowed to say that. But Hackathon is coming back in a fairly similar fashion with some changes. But since it's already we start talking about Knowledge like November or earlier the previous year. So January, we're already in the midst of everything. We came across a problem though. We don't have access to the old Hackathon app, HackNow. If you were ever a participant in the Knowledge Hackathon, you know what I'm talking about. But without going into details, it is not much. Like, so what we're planning on doing is recreating the Hackathon app with all the changes that we would want in it for longevity and for CreatorCon and for community purposes. And so my arc for live coding Elevenses over the course of the next probably few months will be the beginning to end of creating a new Hackathon app for our use, for knowledge use, for community use. And so I'm just going to pretend that that's stuff you can't talk about. No, I mean, I have nothing to do with that stuff, so I can't really. Photo was talking about exam fees and stuff like that. I'm so far removed from that. I have no idea how to even comment on that stuff. I'm for the people, for the people. Hey, Chrissy. So yeah, we're gonna talk Hackathon app. We're gonna talk design for a session or two, so that we have a good basis of building a proper PRD, products requirements document, so that we can feed it probably to Build Agent to at least get all the tables and stuff in. And then I will probably switch around stacks. I'll be making flows manually, probably, or maybe with Now Assist, because Build Agent can't do that yet. And then when it comes to the portals that we need, I will likely not use a React-based framework. You know what? I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. I know service portal code so much more. So I was thinking of switching workflows to probably like Claude Code to build some of those portals, because I know that code and I am able to write it from scratch and or fix anything that AI makes. Or if I want to use a React-based framework, just because then the library availability is so much more. I guess that's going to be a decision we make along the way as we design. Yeah. And then later, in the latter half of this first episode, I'm going to also talk about GSD, because I'm talking about Claude Code, and I've changed how I utilize coding agents in a pretty dramatic way, even when I'm not using Claude Code. So I want to talk about that as a standalone portion at the later part of this. Yeah, Hackathon app, let's get started with that. We're going to be talking design right now. So when we go into design, I actually really like using Miro now. So we're going to use Miro just because it's really good at, I like post-it notes. It's really nice to put post-it notes everywhere and drag them across and everything like that. I know for AI purposes, when I start actually building up the PRD, it's easier if it was in a Word doc, but I'll just export it from Miro or something. Though I haven't had that great of experience of exporting text out of Miro. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right. Okay. One thing I meant to tell Christy and Travis too when they start up their shows again is if we can bring back the tradition of naming our drink at the beginning of each episode, because that was kind of like a live coding happy hour tradition. I feel like we should bring that back. But today I am drinking an Americano with cold foam, a macadamia cold foam on top of it, and it's already melted into the coffee, so hopefully it tastes good. Yeah, I tend to drink coffee on my stream. You should probably bring back every once in a while live coding happy hour just so that me, Chrissy, and Travis can get blitzed on stream and call it work again. I say anything on this stream. Cool. Okay. Chrissy, yes, let's get blitzed. Let's go. All right, so we'll bring it back a stream where we pretend we're doing work, but we're drinking heavily. I wasn't drinking for a long time because I was on a med that I couldn't drink with, but I'm not on that med anymore, so it's fair game. Let's go. Sometimes I wonder why I don't get in trouble with Brand and other people more when I do these kind of streams. Whatever. I don't care. All right, so the first frame. You know what? I'm just going to start putting out thoughts on here, and then I'll organize it into other frames in a minute. So high level, I need to talk about at a highest level. If my goal is a PRD, I need to know audience. I need to know the stack of what everything will operate in, or at least start thinking about that. I need to know the problem. I need to know limitations. I need to know audience, stack, problem, limitations. What if I just go, what's everything I need to make a good PRD? Because I already have a bunch of ideas or details in my head, but I don't want to start that detailed yet. I want to make sure I go high level first. Problem, user, context, success metrics. That's probably a good one. Limitations, open questions, what you're still trying to figure out. Okay. Unknown. All right, so I'll start addressing each of these. It's important to know your audience because hey, Lessa. Also, I didn't really advertise this stream because I feel like a lot of people don't like watching the design phase. They just want to watch the actual development part of it. So when we get closer to the development phase, then I'll start doing a lot more advertisement on this. Plus, I need to ask Jamie to help with how we should strategize advertising these streams. But yeah, working on Hackathon app. Should I put a Hackathon app ideation or design? So Laszlo, because we don't have the Hackathon app anymore, I figured it's time for us to redesign it. I know I wanted to include the 4 of us that are probably going to be working on Hackathon into this conversation, but I wanted to get a basic PRD out before and then iterate with the team there. So trying to get all the stuff that was in the previous one that was important and back onto this board. So if you see, like I'm already, if I'm talking about audience, I'm already in the scoping problem. Like I need to decide, let's go. Yeah, see, I should probably put that first. Yeah, so the problem is we don't have a Hackathon app live anymore. Need a way to allow hackathon participants to submit their app. Need a way to administrate hackathons, and need a way to judge submissions. So those are our main problems that we're solving for. My scoping problem that I mentioned earlier about audience is the fact that if we go at the immediate need, it is CreatorCon Hackathon participants. That's our immediate audience. That will include, I'll use another color for one. That will include hackers, judges, administrators, including the gurus. Because we try to have experts wandering the hackathon helping in case people have questions. And okay, so here's where the scope can expand. If it's more than just the people participating in the hackathon, it could potentially be people observing the CreatorCon hackathon, which means, like, one of the ideas was, what if it was open to the public to view submissions and or vote on them? Or even what Laszlo said, live spectators. In person or online. Okay, so that's one scope creep. The next one that I was thinking of was hackathons in general, not just CreatorCon. Right? Big thing. Like, what if the app that we make for CreatorCon Hackathon can be the app that we use to host meetups hackathons, or World Forum hackathons, or any other kind of hackathons, or fun community online ones. Maybe we get Callie's Discord and we host a hackathon via this app, kind of thing, or SNDev Slack, like, right? Like, it could be not just CreatorCon. So that moves it to 100% remote. So now we have a scope creep there. But I think that's a good scope creep. Like, that's what we want. Like, it would be a cool, long, sustainable app that could help multiple communities. In person or remote hackathons. Yeah, so those were my main three audience bubbles that I was thinking for this. Yeah, cool. Stack, I don't know if I need this to be a bubble, because technically it's not supposed to be so defined this early. Stack, I was just thinking of, like, it's ServiceNow, but am I using any third-party services, any integrations? I'll take that off because I don't think that should be part of this step. So So when I say limitations, what was limitations saying in here? I guess that's more this than this. Core requirements. Should we just change it to the names of these things straight to these things? Oh, I just realized you can't see what I'm looking at. Apparently when I open Claude, you can't see what I'm doing, so my bad. I'm looking at Claude right now to decide if I should change any of these things. Because if we went by this, it'd be core requirements and technical restraints would be another one. Stuntman, what do you mean by themes? Are limitations considered as themes? Okay, so if I go by core requirements, what the thing must do and what it won't. So some of this will overlap with problem because it's going to look just like that. Must be able to sign up for a hackathon. Oh, no, even higher level than that. Let me put that a little bit lower. So for administration purposes, admin, hackathon, judging. Oh, topics. You know that's probably a core requirement. So I'll get to that actually. I'll put it under requirement. Because for admin, it'd be like event-based, as in actual events and not like system events. Can create categories / topics for hackers to pick from. Can distribute instances to participants. So in this realm of ServiceNow, we need to be able to give everybody instances so that they can actually build it on. So are those the main administrative parts? I'll put it for that. For the hackathon itself, it needs to be able to join a team or to create a team or join a team. But also, you know what? Like one of the requirements I did want to bake into this was the old portal, the old hackathon app required us. It was always team-based. Like you could be a solo team, but it was clunky. You had to create a team, and you were that team. And was it clear? Can events can be team, solo, or both. You know what? I also had a thought of, I gotta start putting these more next to each other. It's gonna get crowded. I also had the idea that each because right now in the old hack app, it was required that it was baked into it that all the judging criteria was always the same across all events. And I think each event can have its own judging criteria. Would be cool. And along the same thing as events can be team, solo, or both. I think it would be cool if events could be differentiated between a design hackathon or building a creator hackathon, or both. All right. I think there's going to be. I had more ideas floating around my head. So I know I'm going to come up with them as I think about it more. But for now, I'll just leave that. Be able to create a team or join a team. Be able to receive event details and instance information. Be able to submit their app. Including description and yes, should I make it if a core design element is going to be the judging part of it is can be its own categories, like it's event based, it's not baked into the app, then shouldn't I make a field that can be, when you're submitting your app, shouldn't those fields be dynamic too per app? Yeah. Submission form can have different fields per event. And submit their app is a basic one. Submission can include, I'm not going to make it a hard requirement, can include a presentation, like a pitch is what we called it in past hackathons, pitch idea, or pitch video. Anything else on that one? I'll move on. For judging, judges can view submissions and definitely yes, okay, so let me Studman, I'm gonna finish my thought on judging real quick, and then I'll talk about what you're talking about. Judges can view submissions. Judges can rate submissions. Judges can add notes for submissions. Judges can see videos within platform, would be a nice requirement. Should I make that a hard requirement? No, I'm not gonna make it a hard requirement. Judges can see all of their reviews in a comparison view. I think that'd be cool. I thought about that because like when you judge something, you've all been like in that situation where like you look at one thing and you give it a score, and you go to the next thing and you're like, well, or okay, so it's like, oh wow, this is perfect, top score, and then you get to the next one, it's like, this is more perfect. This should have the top score. Now I have to go back and put the other one down a little bit. having a good comparison view of how you're judging things would be nice to do. I wonder if we could even do like attorney style judging rating. See, I don't want to. I need to separate my mind from the old Hackathon app, because the old Hackathon one was you saw each item in the judging portal. I think I made the judging portal actually. Each app and then each category, and then you just gave a number for each one, and it gave a total score, and that's how it was. Like, what if, like, it was you get all those things, but then you can hit them off in your on screen as attorney, and like this one's better than the other one in this category, or this one's better. I've also seen judging done by like, have you ever seen on like TikTok or Instagram Reels where they'll go up to somebody and say that they'll say like, oh, favorite foods, right? Like, or they'll pick a category, or like, I don't know why I'm thinking of Filipino food right now, but they'll go up to a celebrity and say like, a Filipino person, and go lumpia or sinigang, and then the person says lumpia, and then they go lumpia or lechon kuale, and they'll be like, oh, lechon kuale, and then like you keep going until you eliminated everything, and you have one clear winner. What if that was the judging process? I don't know. So I want to keep it open to not necessarily be locked into how we implement it, because I just want to get all of the requirements down, and then go to my teammates, Travis, Laszlo, Sujin, and stuff like that, and talk to them like, hey, what do we want this app to actually look like? Here's a starting point. So I'll leave that there. And then there's one less place, and I think maybe I will just put it under I guess it would go under admin, so let me add it under admin a little bit. Real quick, each events can be public or private. Events can be open for registration, or can be open for registration or closed. A portal that shows all events that a user is allowed to see. And then a portal that shows all submissions for an event. But let's see, now I need to expand that requirement with events can have submissions visible to public participants only, or private. As in, like, as people submit their hackathon apps, does it appear in a gallery just for people participating, or does it appear in a gallery for anybody that is looking at the portal? Okay, so backtracking a little bit, Stuntman asked earlier, like, hey, shouldn't like a core requirement be a GitHub repository of the app? It will. For the sake of the PRD, I am moving away from saying these things are the how we're going to implement these things is not necessarily part of the PRD. Though, no, see, now I'm arguing with myself. I think you're right. I think I might even have that as tech stack requirement, because I'm gonna add that as a requirement. Yeah, must be in a Git repository, because I want, two things. One, I want it to be open source so that we can make this, people can contribute to it. Then also, if I keep it in a GitHub repository, then I can use Claude Code on it and stuff like that. It makes it much easier to use Claude on it. So I will put that on there. I am willing to say it must be a ServiceNow app. I think that's all I really want to say for full tech stack constraints. Is there any dependencies? Let me think. I mean, I guess the main dependency is, I mean, I guess the React libraries, dependencies, if we go that way. But the other one I was thinking of is not just technical, but knowledge requirements. Like, things might need to change if we find out certain things have to change at the event. So that is technically a dependency to watch out for. Okay. Success metrics is, I'm gonna change this into two things. I'm gonna say two categories for this. Qualitative and quantitative. How do I want to break down this more? Let me look at more success stuff. Smooth experience. The old app was really clunky. It really was. Yeah, that's a good one. Let me back out a little bit. For core requirements for admin, approval workflow for events to be published. That was actually in the old app, but nobody ever used it. And I'll even explicitly say what you said, Laszlo. Role. What would be the term for when you have it very specific, like role? How to say role? What you said? Role delegation for event administrators. I mean, I guess the real technical access control for app admins, event admins, and yeah, versus admin. Yeah. Yeah, so it would actually be like for app admins, delegated development admins versus event admins. know this isn't really great success metrics, but I'm just putting these notes here just because like it's important to me. Like I want it to look nice. I want it to look modern. Especially because like if I use build agent, like it just comes up with really basic stuff like bootstrapped, and I want it to look like a modern website with good intentional animations or the way it displays images or text. Like it needs to be designed well. Yeah. Quantitative would be yeah, this is also what would be an actual quantitative thing, because we're just talking about the app, not the hackathon itself. Like the hackathon itself, we could say like we want to increase participation. We want to our favorite statistic is retention rate, like how many people start the hackathon versus how many people actually get to the end of it. That's not for here. I mean, like user drop off, due to platform. Like I don't have numbers of what that would be before. I knew there was, because we would lose people because they couldn't figure out how to do the team. So I'll just leave that as the thing. We'll come up with a number later. But that reminds me of like this. You probably should put team browsing portal. Teams can have open teams or private teams. Like that's probably a good idea, because the old app required an in-person element to be able to find a team. It would have the list of teams, but you wouldn't know, can I join that team? Are they open to me joining it? Was it supposed to be private? Yeah, so that probably should be baked into it. All right. So I'm sure there's things I'm forgetting, but I'll get to that. As I come up with more things, I'll put it there. I'll add to it. Yeah. Okay. That's a good start. It's a good start. And then I can bring this to the team who's helping run Hackathon, and we're going to talk it through. So, okay, so I wanted to switch for the last 15 minutes of this stream and talk about a new way that I've been utilizing Claude Code. And it's right now it's baked into Claude Code, but if you just take the philosophies that you're going about with this and bring it to any of the AI coding agents that you have, then it's just really useful of a framework. Okay, so let me back out a little bit. How I've been utilizing AI in general, so any generative AI, so ChatGPT, Claude Code, Gemini. There's different levels of how in-depth your prompting is, right? Like you could be a very basic prompter where you just type what you need. You can be a little bit more advanced and give it a lot more context, limitations, give it a role to have it pose as a persona so that it gives better results. And then I was introduced to a new framework that took it like a step further, where it converted these, not just generative AI, but specifically the AI agents that do coding, into a full framework that made them act like how do I describe it? It almost turned me into it's a framework that basically turns all of the coding agent into a framework that emphasizes that I am to act like a product manager, and that's at the highest level. instead of a person that was trying to do all the technical and coding part of it. Like you already use, if you're using an AI coding agent to do code, let it do the code, and I focus on the stuff that is like on this product requirement document that we're building for this hackathon app. I get to focus on the bigger picture stuff, like the problems, audience, core requirements, that kind of stuff. What makes it successful, and move away from being in the nitty gritty, but not being completely separated from it. And so, operating in this framework of letting the AI interview me when it comes into a problem, and then I can choose and decide it or do research on it, or even ask it to do research, is kind of like the new way I do it. And specifically, it's me utilizing the GSD framework. And I will put it, let me load it up. It's a GitHub repository. I will post it in the description and in chat right now. Hopefully that goes through. I'm not sure if the links get blocked, but it's a GitHub repository. GSD stands for Get Shit Done, because it really is the emphasis on that. But on this repository, it is a npm package that you can install if you utilize Claude Code specifically. I don't know why it's not a Claude Code marketplace app and why it's an npm package. I'm not sure, but what it does is it gives you a bunch of commands that you can utilize inside of Claude Code. So it starts with /GSD, and it turns your Claude Code into this framework where you get to act primarily as a product manager. And what that looks like is you start off with a new project, but when you say, hey, I'm starting a new project, it could be on an existing code base or a new code base. But on this new project, it starts following this framework of like, hey, okay, the AI will ask you, what are you trying to do at a very high level? And then it will start drilling into each of the things that you said and start asking more questions about that. Like, okay, well, when you said that you wanted to make a hackathon app, who are you intending to reach? And it'll ask you that question. And then it'll start parsing out everything that you're saying to try to come up with, well, what are you actually trying to get at? And try to flesh it out with you. And then it'll keep doing that. And then eventually when you get to this point where you could say like, okay, I'm done. I think we have everything. Then it starts making all the stuff that you would expect out of a full-fledged project. If you were doing project management, it starts coming up with the points that it needs to research. It comes up with a roadmap. It comes up with requirements, and it phases them out into versions. It says which things are out of scope, and it starts putting all that stuff together and creates these files for you so that you have your own project requirements, roadmaps, what's the current state, and all the research. And then you can go through each of these things and start planning out each of those individual stuff. So it's like being a project manager. You would come up with what bigger phases of what this project would entail, and then you would go in each phase that you would flesh it out more. Then you start discussing that phase and it starts asking you about specifics, like, oh, what kind of systems do we need for this? What kind of visual ideas were you thinking about this particular feature and stuff like that? And it starts planning all those things. The cool thing about the planning phases of this too, and then this is one of the biggest benefits from this framework, is that it understands that Claude has context rot. And I've seen this a lot. Before I started using this framework, I noticed that even though Claude has a huge context window of like 200,000 tokens or something like that, the further you go down, or the more tokens that you use in that context window, the more confused Claude would get of like what I'm trying to get done, because it basically has so much more context now. It's not really, it doesn't know how to re-emphasize the original intent once it gets down to a bigger context. And I was noticing that each time. And so what this framework emphasizes and does automatically is that whenever it comes up with a plan for actual development, it will break everything down within that plan. So each phase can have multiple plans, but each of those plans, it will hard limit itself to be 3 tasks that it wants to get done in that coding sprint. And if it can't get things, and if it needs more tasks than that, then it will parse it out between multiple plans. But what's cool about that is now you have distinct tasks for each of your plans, and each of those plans or each of those tasks get its own context window, because it spins up sub-agents automatically for each of those tasks. And so now very intentional tasks for coding appear all over your project, and each of them get a context window. And that context window, every single time it spins it up, it loads the state, the requirements for that phase, and the roadmap, and like the bigger things, so that it always has just that context as it starts its task, which is very cool to see things get done correctly. Like I don't know if they talk about this in the repository, but one of the things I've acknowledged with this framework is that it utilizes so many tokens when getting started, but in the end uses a lot less, because when I wasn't using a framework like this, I had to keep iterating with Claude as it finished a coding task. And I'm like, well, this is wrong, and you need to go back and fix this. Or you didn't realize this context, you need to fix this. You coded this, but now this other thing I was going to work on is broken because of your changes. It doesn't have the big picture, even though it's utilizing 200,000 tokens. And so when you divide all of these and have this really cool state and roadmap and stuff like that of everything that's supposed to happen in the app, each task is well informed enough to know that further things won't break. And I've noticed once the project is done and I start executing each phase, it like one-shots, which is fantastic. It's a lot more likely to get it done on the first try. What is the most complex thing that I've built with GSD so far? There's an iOS app that I've built that is on the App Store. I use GSD to completely refactor my crappier older code base into modular systems, and then fix a lot of the broken things that were on it. Like I've been having it systematically go through my ridiculous sync manager file, my Swift file, that was very, very long, because I have live WebSockets happening, I have sync up events happening on startup, I have in-flight deduplications, and I needed it to be much more modular, and I used GSD for that one, and that was really complex. Like if I'm looking at my phases right now, it's on a different machine, I can't share my screen, but on my monitor on my left, I'm looking at how many phases it came up with for just this like this fixing my sync one. It came up with 6 phases, and each of those phases has like 6 to 8 plans, and each of those plans had 1 to 3 tasks on it. And once it started doing those things and planned it all out, it started executing the code. And I think I only had to do 1 critical phase add where something broke in runtime when I tried to test it, but I told it, and then it created a new subphase and fixed it. Yeah, it really is like I get to be just product manager, and I've seen a lot more of myself of like I just look over to see how it's doing, and then check up on it, and then I review. Like I'm not like just completely like vibe coding into oblivion. What's cool is whenever it finishes a plan, it creates a summary document of exactly what it did. And it's like what dependencies it used, what decisions it made, what was its objective at the beginning, what it built, what's design patterns that it used for executing that plan. It has implementation notes. It talks about each of the UIs that it touched. It even created gaps. Like, hey, like as I was creating this, a new gap emerged, and I'm going to put it in a gap analysis for you to look at later. Like all of that stuff is part of it. It's like it's all within this framework. But what do you do if you don't utilize Claude? I would encourage you to still look at this repository, because the way it goes about thinking of how to include context, what files it automatically brings into each context window, its repetition of like what does it do to determine your milestones for release, all that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating to read through this stuff, because it really is like, oh, even if I'm not using Claude Code, I'd probably like utilize some of this in like my Scrum processes, or when I just use AI in general. Like I like this framework a lot and it works. So it's just interesting. The more I learn about frameworks and stuff like that, the more I learn about the limitations of AI, because there are, like, AI isn't the panacea that it wants to be yet. And you still have to handhold it a lot. And this feels more like I get to be in control of a lot of the vision and even the details of like decision making, because it asks me before it does things. But oftentimes it asks me things that I didn't know that I should be asking myself. AI has this problem, or coding agents have this problem right now, where like the helpful part of it is that you don't know everything as a developer. And so AI is helpful because it knows things that you don't know. But if I had known those things, I probably would love to have made a decision on some of the things it chose. But if without using these frameworks, AI is going to choose those things, make decisions on it, and you're not informed enough to know if you would have chosen a different way. This framework helps because it will go to each of these things. I'll be like, oh, I don't know about this, but I can initiate research on it or do my own research and then figure out my decisions from there, because it's asking me to for decision points that it knows that I should have. It's just really cool. Okay. I didn't really do a great job at describing it, and that's probably a little bit more advanced for some people. I know not all of our community is into like coding agents yet, but eventually you will be. And one day you're going to be jumping into Build Agent or Claude Code or Codex or something, and you're going to remember Earl's talking about, hey, maybe I should try to wrap a framework around how I utilize this, and it'll make your code perform a lot better than some of your colleagues. That's all. Yep. All right, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. Next week, we're going to keep diving into Hackathon app. Hopefully I'll have met with the Hackathon crew a little bit more about design. And then once we finish the PRD, get that super squared away, we'll start also building a table schema. And then once we get to the point where we have table schema figured out, at least generally, then we're going to feed it to an AI and have it start building it. And we're going to do that live and hopefully get an app out of all this. Sweet. That's all. I'm done. Thanks, everybody. Pretend like there's outro music playing right now. I haven't switched my outro video over to a song that doesn't cause the like, hey, you used a copyright song kind of thing. We don't monetize this channel, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't like getting that email, so I'm not going to play the outro because it doesn't. I didn't switch it over to a new song yet. The intro song doesn't have copyright because it was my song, so there's no copyright out for it. I haven't done it for the outro yet, but yeah. Outro music. Thank you for joining Live Coding Elevenses. I hope you had fun talking with me, Earl. Okay, bye. I realized I have to actually end the stream and just leave the video. I thought if I pressed the wrong button. I just pressed leave and it didn't turn off the stream. It would have just started. It would have just kept streaming indefinitely. Oh my. Okay, ending the stream now. Bye, everyone.